shocked.
Welcome back, Crackle Addicts. I'm Lupine Fiasco. This is Daily FaB Gameplay, and today we are playing Aurora Shooting Star. For anyone who is new to the channel, what we do here is review replays of games I played on the Talishar.net client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my games. I will talk through turn cycles as if I were taking them now, explaining my thought processes for the lines I would take, and compare that to the lines I did take. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future, taking down paper events, and walking away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the deck I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. It is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. If you'd like to engage further, there is a link to my Twitter, to my Discord, and to my Patreon. Without further ado, let's jump right into the action. We're playing against Victor, we lost the die roll, and we have been put on the play. This is a really interesting game because there are a few decisions we have to make that are, I don't want to say out of the ordinary, but at least since the time this game was recorded, I've kind of come to these conclusions on my own. And then watching this game back, really saw moments where I could have implemented some of the lessons I've learned about playing Aurora. And we'll get into what I mean, but this is a really interesting game with quite a few high rolls where we even could have stolen a win right at the very end if we had sequenced it a little better. As far as opening hands go, this one is above average. We start with a combo piece that we get to put into Arsenal. We get to start with more than 40 health. So compared to a hand with a bunch of attacks, this is actually pretty good. As much as I don't like to Arsenal against Guardian and Florian, at least at the start of the game when I haven't seen any of their disruption, we can't really avoid it here unless we take a really heads up line that even lets our opponent filter, right? If we wanted to like play Flittering Charge, pitch Flicker Wisp to make Embodiment of Lightning, play Sigil of Solace to gain 3 life, Arsenal Fry, we're a little more resilient against a disruption because we can more easily play a 4-card hand with Embodiment, but that's like an insane play to make. Yes, Victor has Command and Conquer. Victor potentially has Disable. We would expect blue Disable, maybe red Disable too, but that's like such an insane line of play. As far as I can tell, unless you really just have the read on your opponent, the best line here is pitch Fry and Flittering Charge into Grasp, gain 3 life with Sigil, Arsenal, Flicker Wisp. I really do not recommend attacking Victor on turn 1 because of all of his clash effects. And if you give him the opportunity to clash with a Test of Strength or a Trounce, the card draw doesn't matter too much because he would just draw up at the end of the turn anyway, but you are giving him more gold, you're giving him vigor and might to start a game with, so I really do not recommend attacking Victor on your first turn if you're going first. Victor playing out Goldmane Estate right at the start. Card is insane, and Victor does have the Command and Conquer, so a bit of bad luck there, and it puts us into a position where we need to decide how we're going to either attempt to protect our Flicker Wisp in Arsenal, or how we're going to play what would become a 5-card hand. I'm basically never letting Command and Conquer destroy my Arsenal unless I win the game because I got to keep 4 cards and the CNC didn't kill me. So just letting this hit for 6, losing our Arsenal, keeping these 4 cards and Crown of Providence, kind of just not an option, especially considering that these 4 cards are not particularly powerful. We can't really even convert them well. Our best line using these 4 cards is actually to block with Static Shock, and on our turn, pitch Gone in a Flash to attack with Starfall, play Channel Lightning Valley to give the Starfall go again, and potentially draw a card from our Rune Chant, then from our Starfall, and then attack with Snatch, and hope that one of those hits, and we either draw something with Go again to continue our turn, or that the Snatch hits and we get an arsenal. We could also block with Gone in a Flash and Static Shock. At that point, our best line is probably to play Flicker Wisp, fuse it with Channel Lightning Valley to deal 2 points of damage. Don't play the Channel Lightning Valley, then attack with Snatch and just try to get damage across and be Arsenal CLV. We do love having instants in our arsenal to play around Command & Conquer and Disable, because you can just play the instant in response to the on-hit effect. We also have the line of blocking with Crown of Providence. We sink this card in our arsenal. We draw a new card. We're trying to think of what we could draw that makes this hand significantly better. And the easiest answer is a blue. Because if we draw a blue, we get to pitch into Starfall, play our Channel Lightning Valley. That lets us activate Aurora to make Embodiment of Lightning. We can then play Snatch with Go again. We can play Static Shock and Arsenal Gone in a Flash, so we don't actually take an intellect penalty. But this Command & Conquer is really awkward. It is awkwardly timed. We really did not want our Victor to draw one in the opening hand. We also have to consider that Victor is holding 2 cards, which could potentially be a blue and pummel. And if CNC is pummeled here, we take 10 damage, we lose our arsenal, and we lose a card from hand. And we would want to block this CNC with at least Static Shock. If we did block it with Gone in a Flash as well, and it gets pummeled, then we lose our Flicker Wisp and Arsenal. We probably discard our Snatch, and then we Arsenal Channel Lightning Valley and just take a turn off. Hope that maybe Victor draws some Clash cards that he can't actually use offensively and ends up taking an IP on his own. So how do we want to actually handle this Command & Conquer? If we crown away our Flicker Wisp and draw it into a card that isn't a blue, the best that we're hoping for is maybe an instant, so that we could play Gone in a Flash, use our Snapdragon Scaler, play the instant, get our Gone in a Flash back. We would have played Channel Lightning Valley at the start of the turn, so that Victor either gives us a card when he takes Rune Chant damage, or he has to give us an entire card to not take Rune Chant damage. If I'm making this call now, considering how many variables there are for what the top card of our deck could be, yes, we have 8 blues in this deck. We have not seen any of them, so there are 8 blues in here, but there is a low chance of drawing them. I actually do like blocking with Static Shock and Gone in a Flash. On our turn, we just send a 2-card 6. We play Flicker Wisp, fuse it with CLV, attack with Snatch. It isn't very exciting, but we do keep our Crown of Providence. I think that using Crown here is pretty risky. This is a fairly non-functional hand on its own, and there are very few cards in our deck that actually make this hand better. So I would much rather just use Static Shock and Gone in a Flash here to defend against the Command & Conquer and hold on to some resources, rather than gamble on our top card fixing this hand. There's not the decision I make in the past. We draw into Electrostatic Discharge, which does help because we now get to actually convert more cards in our hand. Let's talk about what Discharge does for us. If we wanted to use our Snapdragon Scalers, we attack with Gone in a Flash. Well, let's back up. We play Channel Lightning Valley. Then we attack with Gone in a Flash. We need to play the Channel Lightning first so that its effect is live when the Rune Chant damage goes through. If we were to wait on it, expecting that Victor will pitch into Arcane Barrier, and then the Gone in a Flash hits, we're in a tough spot because we either play the Channel Lightning Valley and don't get our Gone in a Flash back, and we draw a card, or we play the Channel Lightning Valley after Gone in a Flash hits, and then we don't draw our card because CLV didn't see us do damage. The interaction between CLV and Gone in a Flash is very complicated. So we would play Channel Lightning Valley first, then play Gone in a Flash, use our Snapdragon Scalers, play Electrostatic Discharge to pick up our Gone in a Flash, pitch Gone in a Flash to attack with Starfall, and then probably attack with Snatch, depending on whether we've hit and triggered Channel Lightning Valley or not. If we keep Static Shock in our hand and then draw 2 cards because Snatch hits, we always have the option of pitching 2 cards into Aurora to make an embodiment of lightning, then Arsenal Static Shock. We also have Sigil of Solaces left in our deck. We could potentially draw a blink that gives us an action point to keep our turn going. So if we wanted to use our snaps, then we are pushing 1 damage, 5 damage, 7 damage, 14 damage off of 4 cards, with the potential to draw 2 more cards in there. If we did not want to use our snaps, then we would play Channel Lightning Valley, pitch Gone in a Flash to attack with Starfall, play Electrostatic Discharge, and then attack with Snatch for that same potential to draw 2 cards. We are getting threatening 10 damage with a chance to draw a card. We get an Arsenal, and we keep our snaps. So really here our snaps are worth 4 points of damage, whether we want to use them or not. We are assuming that we get an Arsenal either way. The game just started. We do have 3 Arc Lightnings and 2 Flicker Wisps left in what we would reasonably expect to see from our deck in what we're expecting to be a short game. So I like holding the snaps here. I like play CLV, pitch Gone in a Flash, attack with Starfall, play Discharge, attack with Snatch. And if the Rune Chant or the Starfall hits, and we draw a card while we still have an action point, then maybe we think about whether we want to use our snaps or not. But for now, we threaten 10 damage, we potentially draw 2 cards, we get an Arsenal, we keep all of our equipment. Let's see if that is the decision that I make. We're approaching that, playing the Channel Lightning Valley in response to the Rune Chant, which we need to do. Unfortunately, we're very heads up here. Victor knows that he would have to pitch into Null Rune Boots, and then he'll have to block the Starfall. There is no opening to let Victor decline to pay into Arcane Barrier, and then play Channel Lightning Valley. So Victor playing Trounce, losing the second clash, but breaking gold to fix the results. We show an Entwine Lightning on top of our deck, so we know that that is what our Snatch will be drawing. How do we use this blink? We can pitch it into Aurora to make an embodiment of lightning, then play Static Shock. Static Shock has Go Again, so we're sending 4 Go Again, play Electrostatic Discharge, attack with Snatch. We end up with a floating resource at the end of our turn that we cannot use. We would not have an action point to potentially pitch a second resource into Grasp of the Arclight to avoid having an Arsenal, but Entwine Lightning in the Arsenal is pretty good, and we're not going to make suboptimal plays just to try to avoid having an Arsenal, right? We could play Static Shock and then play Blink, netting that action point either way, but that just doesn't make any sense. Victor playing out a second Trounce. This one does result in a win for him as well. He will make 2 Mights and a Vigor based on winning with a Thunk, but he does not draw the Thunk. We also now know that the top card of our deck is a Lightning Surge, Lightning Press. Victor takes 2 damage from the Static Shock breakpoint as well as the hit effect, and then we attack with Snatch for 7. We do give Victor the opportunity to block with 2 pieces of armor and a 3 block from hand. We'll see if he takes it, and he does. So not the worst result for us. Victor is sitting on a bunch of Might and enough Vigor that he is going to be able to 2-card attack with anything from his deck. Very unfortunate, especially when that 2 card is Spinal Crush. Our hand is absolutely abysmal for blocking. It isn't terrible for taking advantage of the Spinal Crush restriction. We take 15 here, but we do then get to attack with Fry and Lightning Surge it. Lightning Press it, good lord. Knowing that we will draw a card if the Fry hits. There are a few other lines we can take, not defensively. We are just going to take 15 here. None of our cards block. We're not going to give armor just because. We are going to hold our armor for something we can actually interact with. So we have a few lines. We could attack with Fry, then pitch Somersault and press into Aurora to make an embodiment of lightning, also keeping our Channel Lightning Valley on the board, and Arsenal Sigil of Solace. But I don't like that play for a few reasons. The first being that Embodiment of Lightning is very helpful, but Sigil of Solace in Arsenal doesn't help us trigger Channel Lightning Valley. And if we're spending resources to keep Channel Lightning Valley around, we really want to be able to draw off of it. We can also evaluate the value we're losing if we pitch Press and Somersault. So Press is easy. We would lose 3 damage by not playing it. Somersault is a little harder to gauge, but at a minimum, we can say that it is 4 damage, and that's just playing a Flittering Charge or an Entwine Lightning or Lightning Surge that we used Snapdragons on any of our 0 for 4s, somersaulting it, and then playing it again. Somersault value also goes up if we're playing it defensively by blocking with 2/2 blocks or a 2 and a 3 or even 2 3s. So let's say baseline Somersault is 4 damage. That means that we are giving up 7 points of value to keep this Channel Lightning Valley around, which if Victor blocks the Fry, is only generating 4 points of value if we hit with it, and that's even a pretty big if, because again, our 5th card, Sigil of Solace, doesn't help us draw, it doesn't deal damage. So what I want to do with this turn is play Fry, then Lightning Press it, get 6 points of damage across, draw a card with Channel Lightning Valley. Hopefully, we draw into a Lightning card that we can pitch into Aurora with Electrostatic Somersault to keep CLV around. But at bare minimum, we get to play our Sigil of Solace and then Arsenal something. We also don't need to decide this now. We can wait until Victor blocks the Fry and then decide what we want to do with this hand. So at this point, we have a decision we don't have a decision to make. At this point, if Victor is not blocking the Fry, all of that math goes out the window, because now the 7 points of value that we're losing by pitching Press and Somersault becomes much less valuable when we consider that we potentially draw 0 for 4 off the top of our deck, play Sigil of Solace, Arsenal what we drew, and keep our Channel Lightning Valley around for our next turn. If we're comparing 4 value from CLV into the 7 value from Press and Somersault, that's bad. But if we are saying it's 8 value because we're going to draw 2 more cards from Channel Lightning, now we actually care a lot more about keeping the CLV around. So let's not play Press, because we are not guaranteed to draw a Lightning card off the top of our deck, and we will instead just draw and then pitch into Aurora. Drawing Heaven's Claws is kind of interesting, because we would have really wanted just a 0 for 4 for our Arsenal. We get an Arsenal either way, but now we have a choice to make on whether we want Somersault or Press in Arsenal. Personally, I would rather have Somersault, because I am concerned about blocking. I want to be able to play my instants from Arsenal on Victor's turn and get value from them. So say we Arsenal Lightning Press and Victor attacks with Command and Conquer. We just lose value from the press, because now we have to protect it, and it does nothing for us defensively. But if we Arsenal Somersault, we're still looking at a potential for from that somersault, which is more than presses 3. And if we get disrupted, Command and Conquer, disable, then we can play the somersault defensively and actually get value from it. The reason that we would want press is to just get damage over blocks so that we draw from Channel Lightning Valley. But compare that to just getting another 0 for 4 on our turn that is threatening that card draw. What I would like to do here is pitch, press, then Heaven's Claws. We need to pitch in that order because we need to overpitch. As you saw, if we pitch the blue first, then we don't actually have the ability to pitch our red, and we need 2 lightning cards in our pitch zone for Channel Lightning Valley. Play the Sigil, gain 3 life. Here we're arsenaling press. I respect the decision, but I don't agree with it. Very interesting hand with these 2 Arc Lightnings because we absolutely want to play the first one. The question is, do we play the second one? The 2 Arc Lightnings work really well together. The first one does 1 point of damage, the second one does 2 points of damage because both Arc Lightnings trigger off of the go again from the second Arc Lightning. But Arc Lightning on its own is not guaranteed to be a 0 for 4. And if we say play the first Arc Lightning, play the second Arc Lightning, we're looking at 3 damage, play E-Strike, bottom Flittering Charge, E-Strike gets go again, and we draw a card. We've done 5 damage off of Arc Lightning. Let's say that we draw into a 0 for 4 that has go again, Ravenous Rabble, and we attack with that. Both Arc Lightnings trigger. We have done 7 damage overall, but split between 2 Arc Lightnings, that was 3.5 value per Arc Lightning, which is not very good. It's worse than a Flittering Charge, which is just 4 damage. So if we play the first Arc Lightning, then play in Lightning Strike, bottom the second Arc Lightning, and draw a card, we have now done 2 damage off of a single Arc Lightning. We can play Flittering Charge and use the Lightning Press in our arsenal to give it go again. Arc Lightning has done 3 damage, and then we either play a 0 for 4 that has go again, or we have the option to pitch into Starfall, and our Arc Lightning is dealing 4 damage. So we actually get more damage per Arc Lightning by only playing the first one and bottoming the second, which we really don't need to worry about now. All of this is to say we're not going to block. We're not going to block this E-Strike for 5. We are really hoping to not need to block whatever the follow-up is, because we just want to send damage from hand. And we get lucky with a Chokeslam for 6, because we can cover this with Carapace and Grasp of the Arknight. Now, why do we need to block this at all? Because we have a Lightning Press in our arsenal, and if we didn't have a Lightning Press in arsenal, we would care a lot less about this Chokeslam. Now, we would probably still block it with armor, very easy to prevent the crush effect, and we still have Electrostatic Discharge and Lightning Press in our deck. We potentially also just draw into another E-Strike that we could give +2 to. So blocking the crush effect is important. But let's say this was a red Chokeslam, well now we're very punished for having Lightning Press instead of Somersault in Arsenal. But we are going to cover this for 4, we'll take 2, go down to 20, and we're really hoping that this turn can catch us up because we're feeling very behind at this point. Take our 2, start with an Arc Lightning, see if Victor is going to give us a card to cover the arcane damage. If he doesn't, we just draw. If he does, well, then we got cards out of his hand. Unfortunately, he is going to be able to turn this 2-block Rouse into a 3-block through Arcane Barrier. We do decide to bottom the Lightning Press, the Arc Lightning. And Victor is going to give us Test of Strength and Gauntlet of Iron Will. Now here is an interesting decision that I am not going to make in-game, but which we should do, which is to let the Test of Strength resolve before Gauntlets of Iron Will. so that we see what is on top of our deck before we need to decide whether we play Lightning Press or not. If we let Gauntlets of Ironwill resolve, we cannot play Lightning Press on this E-Strike because Gauntlet says that E-Strike can't gain the power. And depending on what's on top of our deck, we might not even want to play Lightning Press on E-Strike because E-Strike currently has Go Again. We might want to play Lightning Press on Flittering Charge to give it Go Again so that we get more value out of our Arc Lightning. So I really would like to switch the order of these two, and if for whatever reason I couldn't switch the order, I don't like playing Lightning Press here. I like playing it on Flittering Charge because let's say the card on top of our deck is a blue. Now we're in a position where we would want to pitch to Grasp of the Arknight, attack with Starfall. Then we're looking at this Flittering Charge and this Discharge. We play the Discharge, we attack with Flittering Charge, but Flittering Charge doesn't have Go Again. Because we didn't play an instant during the chain link, we did it before the chain link so that Flittering Charge would get its +3. If we have a 0 for 4 on top of our deck, then it doesn't matter. We play Flittering Charge, we play Discharge, Flittering gets Go Again, and then whatever the attack we drew gets +3. But we don't know. So if I was making this call now, I would just switch the order of press of Gauntlet and Test of Strength to see what's on top of my deck before I make the decision. But just as a sort of general rule of thumb, I am not playing Lightning Press here. I am saving it to play on Flittering Charge. And the card we reveal is a Lightning Press, which would have convinced me to play the press on my E-Strike so that I could then just dump a bunch of reactions onto my Flittering Charge. But if it was a 0 for 4, well then I'm really interested in having this Flittering Charge get Go Again from one of these two instants. Because I don't like arsenaling things against Victor, I don't want to get got by Command and Conquer. I am just playing Discharge here, then playing Flittering Charge, then playing Lightning Press. Whether we pitch this to Starfall or use it on the Flittering Charge doesn't actually matter. Victor will get to use his floating resource on the Starfall Arc Lightning damage, but if we just played Discharge, then played Flittering, then played Lightning Press, Victor would be able to use it there. So in either case, Victor does get to use this floating point of damage, this floating resource for Arcane Barrier. There's no real, like, gotcha moment where we could have stranded Victor with this floating resource and no way to use it. Got a yellow boulder drop coming in for 6. We need to cover at least 3 so that we don't get crushed. That's fine, we'll just block with Current Funnel. We're in a weird spot after that where we can either play Flicker Wisp, fuse it with Discharge, then play Shockwave and fuse it with Discharge to get 4 Arcane and 4 Physical, or we could play Flicker Wisp, fuse it with Discharge, play Discharge, play Arcanic Shockwave, get in for a 3-card 9, or we just play Discharge, play Shockwave, Arsenal, Flicker Wisp. But again, I don't love arsenaling against Victor. We've only seen 2 Command and Conquers. We have not seen Disables yet, so I'm a little iffy about that arsenal. For one thing, we're blocking 3 here. We don't need to give more to this boulder drop. What I would like to do, if I am making this call now, is I am playing Flicker Wisp, fusing it with Discharge, playing Shockwave, fusing it with Discharge, arsenaling the Discharge. I still have Gone in a Flash in my deck. I'm very interested in using my Snapdragons to work with Gone in a Flash and Discharge. I am less interested in having Flicker Wisp in my arsenal when I can get 4 value out of it right now. We also then put Victor in a position where, you know, maybe he is going to block with, or maybe he's going to pitch into Arcane Barrier, and then we're pretty excited that we got cards out of his hand that he doesn't get full value out of. Victor giving us a red Chokeslam and a Command and Conquer would lead me to believe that he has multiple blues in his hand, that he needs to pay for the arsenal. If we were sending Arcanic Shockwave for 4, then yeah, maybe Victor keeps this Command and Conquer and pitches a blue, attacks with the CNC, and now we have to worry about that. We can't know ahead of time. If we just play the Flickerwisp Fuse, Shockwave Fuse, maybe Victor pitches a blue and then blocks with the Chokeslam and now gets to CNC from hand. We can't know. In hindsight, we made the right call, but at the time, how could we have known? Spinal Crusher 9 here is a pretty easy Gone in a Flash, Shockwave, Somersault. We would love to have Discharge in our arsenal, but as we've said, we would not have known if we could have protected it. Turns out we would have been able to protect it really well. Victor pitches one of these blues to soak up 2 of the arcane damage from Flickerwisp, blocks with Chokeslam, takes 3 damage in total, then pitches a blue, attacks with CNC, and then we get to block with Gone in a Flash, Shockwave, use Somersault, and now we have Gone, Shockwave, and Twine with Discharge in Arsenal and get to make a really cool Snaps play. We're still going to make the same Somersault block, but we are now vindicated in feeling like, you know what, we really should have prioritized keeping that Discharge in Arsenal. So the more I learn about Aurora, the more I feel like we really should be aiming to make these Gone in a Flash mini combos. They're just really strong, really good way to get value out of Gone in a Flash and get a little more damage on top of our opponent. Let's talk about this Flickerwisp line. I agree with it because we are going to play Flickerwisp, fuse with Gone in a Flash, play Entwine, fuse, play Shockwave, fuse, Arsenal, Gone in a Flash. We are getting our 4 points of damage out of Flickerwisp. We're sending 8 physical damage at Victor, and Victor has shown us 2 Command and Conquers. So I'm pretty okay with arsenaling something here. I'm not going to snap for Gone in a Flash. Victor gives us a test of strength, does win, no surprise here. It is possible, as Aurora, to win clashes against Victor. Victor can always reveal a non-attack action. We have E-strikes to Victor's blue Clash of Mights. But for the most part, we're never going to win a clash against Victor. The hand we draw into is kind of interesting. It's weirdly almost good with Gone in a Flash, which is good because Victor is now laying down Goldmane Estates, and we have to deal with 15 might on Victor's turn, which means that we need to deal a lot of damage. Victor is effectively at 18 health based on having Tunic and Orm Aegis. Plus he has 4 cards in hand. We need to strip at least 3 of them so that Victor can't just play Command and Conquer for 21. Ideally, we are stripping 4 cards so that he can't attack at all. The second best option would be get 3 cards and Tunic from him so that his only play is Titan's Fist for 19. We still have 2 points of armor to cover 2 of that, and then we just need to find 2 blocks to survive at 1. So what that means is we really need to maximize damage from this hand, and that means we are looking to take advantage of Gone in a Flash. Blink is going to get Gone in a Flash back, Channel Lightning Valley is going to get Gone in a Flash back, and as much as I just told you, play your Channel Lightning first so that your Gone in a Flash has the potential to draw a new card. Here's the thing about Gone channel loops, is if you bounce your Gone in a Flash with Channel Lightning Valley drew you a Gone in a Flash, guaranteed. And we really care about finding 0 for 4s right now more than we care about like an instant or a blue or a fry or a somersault off the top of our deck. So we are going to ideally play 3 Gone in a Flashes this turn. We're going to play our Gone from Arsenal. We are going to blink it, play Gone from hand, snap Channel Lightning Valley, play Gone from hand. Then we are going to have previously pitched Heaven's Claws into Aurora to make an embodiment. We're going to attack with our Starfall, and we're going to attack with Static Shock. So overall, we will have sent 12, 14, potentially 19 points of damage. We will have definitely sent 18 with a potential 19th from Static Shock, which means that at a minimum, we are getting 2 cards out of Victor's hand. Now, if any of these hit after we play Channel Lightning Valley, we draw another card, and now we're really cooking with gas. So the sequence that I would like to take is to start with Gone in a Flash. Then, whether I blink or snap Channel Lightning Valley is very contextual based on what Victor does and how he blocks the Gone in a Flash. If Victor does not block Gone in a Flash entirely, then we are kind of just out of luck, right? Oh, we really wish that we had put the Channel Lightning down first, maybe drawn a new card, whatever. But here's where things get really cool, because Victor has 1 point on Orem Aegis and a number of 3 blocks. He also has Test of Strength, he has Sync Blows, possibly Fate Foreseen. If Victor blocks the Gone in a Flash in its entirety, then we snap Channel Lightning. Channel Lightning puts Gone in a Flash back in our hand, and because we haven't dealt damage, Channel Lightning is still active, and now our second Gone in a Flash is maybe getting that on hit. So maybe Channel Lightning didn't get us a single 0 for 4, maybe it got us 2 0 for 4s. And if it's getting us 2 0 for 4s, then that 5 card 19 suddenly turns into a 5 card 23. And if we are sending a 5 card 23 at Victor, he needs to give us 3 cards from hand to survive. And if he gives us 3 cards from hand, then we are probably just getting hit with Titan's Fist. So how I would sequence this is open with Gone in a Flash. If Victor blocks it out entirely, I snap Channel Lightning. If Victor does not block it out entirely, I blink. So I'm taking a different line. I'm taking the more obvious line, which is to grasp Starfall, Channel Lightning Valley, really looking to maximize my opportunity to draw from Channel Lightning Valley and forcing Victor to give me a card to stop the arcane damage. So basically looking to turn a 3 block into a 2 block because we're not going to threaten that much arcane. So we will be comparing what we would have drawn from our deck here. How much damage are we doing now compared to how much damage would we have done? We know that the benchmark from our last potential sequencing, what I would have wanted to do, is 23. So currently we have threatened 7 points of damage, and here's where I really want to emphasize why we should have started with Gone in a Flash with the intention of bouncing it with Channel Lightning Valley, because look at how Victor is blocking. Victor is giving us exact blocks on this Gone in a Flash. Maybe he doesn't if we haven't played the Channel Lightning Valley yet, but maybe he does because he just wants to stop incoming damage. So if he had given us this block on Gone in a Flash, then we're way far ahead. And if he doesn't, then we're probably still taking a similar line to what we're doing here. We have currently threatened 7 points of damage. I'll play Blink, I'll pick up Gone in a Flash. Now the line is going to be break the chain so that Victor just doesn't have access to Orem Aegis. Just, good force of habit. Since Static Shock for 4, potentially 5, very unlikely that Victor's going to block from hand. We hit with the Static Shock, so we'll deal 1 point of damage. We'll then draw from Channel Lightning Valley. We draw a Rabble. We have threatened 12 points of damage. Ravenous Rabble coming in for 4 puts us up to 16. Gone in a Flash comes in to make it 20. We put Victor to 4. 3, 7, 12. Okay, sure. It's interesting. We only would have gotten 3 more damage out of my line. I thought it was 4. So if we did get 4 more damage out of my previous line, then Victor has to give us either a card from hand and waste all of his mites, or he has to give us Tunic, and then his only line is Titan's Fist. I feel like I mathed this out so that the line that we just presented did 19 compared to the line I proposed, which was 23. I feel like the line I proposed was 4 more damage. In any case, we don't get there. Victor has Tunic plus a card from hand, and so he gets to Golden Sun us for 25 with Overpower, and we can't get there. But let's say Victor did have to give us Tunic, and his only line was Titan's Fist for 19. We get to block with E-Strike, Rabble, Grasp, and Carapace, go down to 2. Then on our turn we play Flicker Wisp, fuse it with Flittering Charge, shoot Victor, who is at 1, for 2 arcane damage, of which he can only prevent 1, and then he dies. So if I did my math right, which I'm pretty sure I did, then we do manage to win this game through the Victor double Trounce, double Test of Strength, triple Visit the Gold Main Estate in the top half of his deck high roll. Aurora can do some really, really crazy stuff. She is a very good hero, very strong, very fun to play. That's pretty good value per turn from Victor. But Aurora is able to just steal wins based on the power of her combo and the power of just her deck overall. She's a blast to play. There's a ton of depth, a ton of complexity of just how do you find your wins. And I feel like we were so close in this game, but just based on things that I know now that I didn't know previously, such as the Gone in a Flash Channel Lightning Valley potential loop based on how your opponent blocks. If you think they're going to block aggressively, Gone in a Flash with Channel Lightning is actually very good rather than a total non-bow. Making sure to arsenal those somersaults that you can play as a response to Command and Conquer, Disable, not Plow Under, or even just arsenaling its Discharge so that you can work with Gone in a Flash. There's a ton of depth to Aurora, a ton of great rules of thumb that then sometimes don't work based on the game state, a lot of decisions that just let you take wins, and we were so close. But we'll get them next time. Hopefully this video teaches you some important lessons about Aurora, helps you get those edges where you need them. If so, be sure to Flittering Charge towards that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. If you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It's free, it helps me out a lot. I have a Discord and a Twitter, which are free to join. I have a Patreon, which for a low monthly cost can get you custom tokens, this Aurora sideboard guide, bonus content every week. But no matter what you do, catch me next time on Daily FaB Gameplay, and until then, take care.